is up, gang? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. Yes, we're doing another Comic Collector Origins. This is season 2, episode 14. And I have another awesome guest tonight. Excited to get into it. Before I do, want to remind you guys of some things. We have free comic book day coming up this Saturday. If you guys are able to go to a local comic shop, make sure you do support your local comic shop. Pick up some free comics, support them, buy some comics while you're there. It's one of my favorite days of the year, free comic book day, and you really can get some fun books, and it's a good way to get into some things if you're not sure what you've been missing, what you know, some series that have been out for a little while. They usually give you a little taste, giving these free comics, and typically, at least for where I'm from, it's usually just a good time hanging out with a bunch of people, hanging out, you know, just being in a comic book shop. So for me, I will definitely be hitting up a few of my local comic shops, including Zap Comics and probably A&S Comics and maybe a few others along the way. I'm excited because I'll be meeting up with Fable and Big Herminio for the first time. They're from New York, so we'll definitely be doing some footage there and hanging out and buying comics and all that fun stuff. So but either way, just wanted to put that out there. Support your local comic shops and enjoy free comic book day. Other than that, after I got more Origins coming up, so you know, just stick around. I'm changing up my schedule a little bit, so typically it's been every other Wednesday, but I actually will be back next Wednesday for the next episode here for Comic Collector Origins, so be ready for that. And if you guys missed our Omni X-Men show last night, that was on this channel here, me and John from John's Comics with Kids, we were with our good friend Tony Old Wolf 65 breaking down another New Mutants book on Omni X-Men. So go catch the rewind. I think that's all the intros that I wanted to make sure I covered before we get into tonight. So my guest tonight, really great guy. Got to meet him, hang out with him for a bit over at Terrificon last year. Also got to meet him through the Council of X, that whole crew that's been awesome to just get to know over the last year or so. And I actually had the opportunity to be on his show not too long ago, and so wanted to get him over on my channel and pick his brain a little bit about himself, because I know I did a ton of talking over on his channel. You should go check that out. I'll link that down at some point. But of course, I'm talking about my good friend Rohan from Back in the Game Comics. What's going on, brother?
What's happening? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. How you been?
Solid. Doing good. Excited to be here. Doing great.
Heck yeah, dude. Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate you taking some time to be on the show. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on, a few months ago when I joined you and JP. Love the channel. Love what you guys are doing. I know you guys do a ton of the interview style stuff. I know you also do a lot of other things as far as, covering. We were just talking about Penguin. I know you guys did a whole series on that and a few other things. So love all the content that you've been putting out there. And, I think we connect on a lot of different, fandom as far as our characters and X-Men and all that stuff. So,
yeah. Now, I will say, you mentioned Council of X. So now I'm actually not a Council of X, but I am friends with all of those guys. So
okay. You're in there. You're basically in there.
And I think it is, like, honestly, I don't deserve to be on the Council of X because I don't read I would literally just be the one just sitting there being like, I can't really contribute to this conversation because their reading depth is far greater than mine. So I'm not saying like I've been spited. I'm saying I should not be on there. I do not deserve to be on the Council of X, but I do like all those guys, and I'm good friends with a lot of those guys.
Well, you would do great, man. The other night, I think Ryan and then they had a whole game show where they literally created their own mutants. It was just like fun free for all, just having fun. That kind of thing.
I will say the one episode I think would have been great to be on is when they did the draft. That was
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ryan, I'm sure as a football fan, he's probably going to be doing more of that at some point. So, I definitely have to I missed that too. Yeah, I would love to be on the next one for that. Well, hey, for everybody who's watching right now, or if you're catching the replay, if you don't follow Rohan, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below. Absolute Game of Nerds is the YouTube channel. Him and JP. We'll get into a little bit more of that as well. So make sure you're subbed up to the channel and also hitting up Rohan over on Instagram. His links are in the description below. Before we get into it, Rohan, let's just say a quick hello to everybody hanging out in the chat, and then we'll dive in here. So right off the bat, my man Matt, also known as Impress Comics, used to go by Matt and Clemson, changing his name recently. Good to see you, Matt. I said this last night. I'll say it again. If you guys are ever looking for anything to, as far as pressing and cleaning services go, Matt is your guy. I actually have a couple books with him right now. He just did this whole new relaunch, a new brand, and a business that he's now kicked on. and he's just a great guy. I try to support him in any way that I can. So definitely check him out. Matt, appreciate you swinging by here, my friend. We got my man, Big Daddy Ross. John, what is going on, my friend? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. Rohan pulling double duty in the chat. I love to see it. It's a sense of balance, let's see. We got Christopher Parker in the house as well. Good to see you, Chris. You got revenge on us tonight. Your O's taking down the Yankees. So it was a closer game, but we'll call it revenge. Hope you're doing well, Chris. All right, gang. So appreciate everybody. Oh, Matt says my Hulk 180 is looking good. Yes,
oh, nice.
Sweet. That was one of the main books I sent his way. So
are you getting that graded?
I'm not. No, it just had some work that I just want it to look nice. I do the Mylar treatment, but sometimes that's not good.
No, I'm with you. We can talk about that as you want, but no, I'm with you.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's see. Chris says you'll be better off in the long run this year. Maybe we'll see. Fingers crossed. All right. So Rohan, let's get into this, man. First and foremost, tell me a little bit about just the origin, how you got started in comic books. How old were you at the time? What was your environment like? Did you have anybody else in your life at that time that were really helping you get into, whether it was the reading aspect or collecting aspect or the artwork aspect or maybe cartoons or anything else? Where did it all start for you?
Yeah, so I've told this story, on a number of times, but what actually got me in wasn't necessarily comic books. It was actually the Marvel cards. So if any of you guys grew up in the 90s, you remember 1990, 1991, 1992 had Series 1, Series 2, Series 3 Marvel cards. Also, another big set for me was the 92 Jim Lee X-Men set. But anyways, I don't know how we came about them, but my brother and I, and then obviously the friend groups that we kind of ran in, those became kind of the thing. And so I remember Series 2, which would be 1991, was our first set. And we kind of collected that. And then we went back and collected Series 1. And then obviously funny stories I tell people, when Series 3 came out, we actually would steal money from my mom's purse to go and buy packs of those cards.
Hey, so that's do what you got to do,
And, we ended up coming clean. Like, it's not a secret. Like, my mom was well aware. Not a proud thing we did, but we definitely did that. Anyway, so those cards, if you remember, they have bios, they have power ratings. So I would, as a kid, I would just turn them over and I would read. And so, that's honestly how I learned the history of the Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, et cetera, right? That did play into comics. So, I did collect comics. I remember Jim Lee X-Men 1, Spider-Man 1, Todd McFarlane, right? Those are some big books and a couple other. But I wasn't never really a huge reader of comics. I collected a few, but it was really those cards. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the X-Men cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoon, Batman the Animated Series was huge into those. I was actually, no one ever talks about, but I also loved, even though it's probably not very good, was the Fantastic Four cartoon. And so that's how I got into it and how I fell in love with these guys. Obviously, then as I got older, got more into sports, I kind of faded away from the hobby, I guess we'll say. So that'd be kind of like mid 90s. And from there, I always knew of the characters and everything and the histories and things like that, but I didn't collect anything. I wasn't reading anything. I wasn't, doing anything related in.
Sure.
And then when early 2000s, when you had the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, those X-Men movies, that kind of I was super into those because this is the stuff I loved as a kid, and I'd watch the movies, and obviously then the MCU happened. I watched all through that. But what actually got me back into the collecting side of things is, you know what NFTs are, right?
Yeah.
So have you heard of the VV app?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just remember my brother one day was like, oh, hey, check this out. I'm getting this NFT. And this was at the time when NFTs were going crazy. I mean, stupid money, all of which has all gone to nothing essentially. But he sent me this link, and it was an NFT for Fantastic Four #5. So the first appearance of Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. How much is that? And I was assuming because NFTs were super expensive, I was like, it's gonna be some crazy number. And he's like, oh no, you have to get on this drop, and it's $6. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll buy that for $6. and that kind of started. And then I started collecting because they would come out with one a week or one every other week or something at the time. I mean, they come out a lot more now, and they were always $6. Now you had to they would release a certain amount and you didn't always get it. So you'd have to get lucky. And then they had different variants based on rarity that they'd make.
They had different colors too, right?
Yeah,
like
different
the
colors.
rarity.
And some had even different covers.
Yeah.
And I ended up like collecting like a, small handful, decent amount of those. And I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And it just made me think like, oh man, it'd be cool to like go into a comic store or something like that again. Because I kind of, I have core like memories as a child of like going to the comic store. There was this one by my town I grew up called Larry's.
Okay.
And I mean, my parents would like, and this would also continue when we got into sports, because then we go to a sports card store. My parents would like drop us off for like 2-3 hours while they go run errands. But I have no money.
Okay.
Right? I'm
Okay,
just like this annoying kids being like, hey, can I see that? Can I see that?
God.
How much is this? How much is that? I never thought about it then, but I can only imagine how annoying we must have been to those owners. But so again, we're at we took our kids to, so one day, this is now 2021, I guess 2022 actually, because it would have been after COVID.
Yeah.
We took our kids to one of those play places at a mall nearby us.
Okay.
And it's a 2-story mall. And so the play place was on the second floor. And I just like looked down below and I saw this comic store. And I was like, oh, I was like, hey, babe, I'm just gonna go poke my head in there. And she was like, okay, cool, whatever. Went in there, and it was more of a shop that it was almost all modern comics. Okay. So I didn't know anything. I don't know anything about modern storylines or anything. Like every storyline I really knew was kind of, I'd say 94 and earlier.
Sure.
And so that's kind of what I was hoping to see. There was like more of that kind of vintage backlog kind of things. And so then I didn't really have anything. And then I was like, although I had seen some of the issues because they had come out on Vivi as NFTs. Right. And so then I asked the lady and I was like, hey, do you guys have any like back issues? And she was like, no, we don't. And I was like, is there a comic store around that does, like, because again, like when I thought of a comic book store, like when I went to as a kid, it was like, the bins and things like that.
Yeah, sure.
And she was like, we don't have that here, but you want to go to, she named it, I'm blanking on the name now. It actually so it was in business for 33 years. The guy just retired like a year ago now.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, she's like, go there, they have it all. And then so after we got done at the play place, we took the kids home and I was like, hey, I'm just going to run down there. I'm just going to check it out. It was like 20 minutes away. And I walked in and there it went. I ended up like talking to the owner for like maybe like 90 minutes.
Nice.
And it just kind of like was like so fun. Right. And that's kind of how I got right back onto the collecting side.
Wow. So like that, once you stepped in, like what'd you guys talk about? Like were you just asking them like kind of what, like the stage of the collecting nowadays, or were you asking
so them? Like again, like that was like right after COVID. So I remember just like starting to make small talk. I was like, man, COVID must have been really hard for you. Like, people can't come to your store. He's like, no, COVID was crazy good. Like comics just went through the roof. And I was like, what? Like I had no idea, obviously, of like the boom. Right. And he was like explaining to me how like, people had money to spend, but nothing to do. And so they had all this money and people were spending on comics. He's like, it was so good that I will probably be able to retire even earlier than I planned. I was like, wow, that's incredible.
Damn.
But then I like, became kind of friends with him. And like, I went back multiple times and just again, like, it's just kind of like the bug just really got me.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to go back for a second and actually quick hello to my man, Dave, Four Corners Comics. Good to see you, Dave. Thanks for hanging out. So when you were, I love that the aspect of like, you were collecting these cards, the just seeing the character. I love that you even said like you learned these characters just from reading the backs. I remember those. I mean, that was so cool to be able to get an in-depth little glimpse, into these cards without having to, necessarily read a book. And I've shared this in the past, but like, I hated reading as a kid. So like, comics to me were like, no, thanks. Like it was just like, that's punishment to me. But the cards were a cool way to kind of do that and be able to, more focus on just that art style and then be able
to. And what was really cool with the cards too, is like, I was a big fan of the power ratings. Like to me was like the coolest thing ever. Like, oh, this guy's got this, is this strong and he's this fast. And I absolutely love that.
It was huge, and like no one, there was nothing else like it at the time. Like there was
No.
really nothing else. Like I mean, you had sports, and that was really
Yeah,
the,
and in sports, obviously, you
you
had
know,
stats on the back of sports cards, but nothing
right.
like this.
It's not like they were battling or something.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Do you recall kind of some of the characters that stood out most to you at that time as, and maybe that carried even over to now, but like your favorite
Yeah.
characters, or what
Yeah,
caught your
yeah,
attention?
absolutely. I'd be a liar if I said it was. I mean, all the heavy hitters. I mean, I'm the bigger the character, the more I like. So all like X-Men and
Mm,
Spider-Man and the Avengers and so Fantastic Four was one of my favorites.
yep.
And then yeah, I always tell people like my favorite all-time character is Silver Surfer, and I just remember in fourth grade walking to school, and my buddy, as I got to school, my buddy Jeremy came off the bus, and he was one of the guys that we would like trade cards with and things like that. He's like, "Hey, I got this Silver Surfer." I'm like, "What's Silver Surfer?" And I looked at the card and I was like, "Oh, this guy looks cool." And then I flipped it over, so this was the 91 card, and I mean his power ratings are like through the roof, and I was like
Yeah.
blown away. And Jeremy's like, "Oh yeah, Silver Surfer is like one of the most, if not the most powerful superhero." And I was like, "This is my guy. Like
You
this
were
is
sold. Yeah.
this is
I
it.
love it.
Like this is my guy." And he's been my favorite since.
That's amazing. So you must have been pretty pumped when they did the movies, and having him being introduced for the first time, that sort of thing. Were you following at that point,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some
I
of
mean,
those?
like I was definitely watching. I mean, like I saw the
Yeah,
first Fantastic Four movie, and I was like,
right,
yeah,
right.
it's okay.
Yeah, not as,
And
yeah.
and then like, so I didn't have a lot of faith when that second movie came out. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, it's gonna be kind of the same quality of film, and
sure.
it was. I will say though, like I thought he looked fantastic in it, especially for a
Yeah, heck yeah.
whatever it was 2007, 2008 movie.
Yeah, yep.
I was obviously very disappointed in Galactus being a cloud kind of thing. But it was cool to see on screen.
Yeah,
And we can get into it or not get into it if you want, but I am super hyped for the Fantastic Four movie. I'm not thrilled that is a
yeah.
female surfer. Um,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, there's definitely that's a big change for sure.
Yeah, and again, like I know everyone's like, again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And first and foremost, it's just like Silver Surfer was my favorite character. So of course it's just like I want to see him as close to the truth of what I fell in love with as a
Sure.
child, right? So I'm naturally disappointed that it's a female, right? And then I know everyone's like, oh, but she's not going to last beyond this movie. Well, then we'll get the real Norn Rat and the 616 or whatever. It's an alternate universe, and it's like, yes, I hear you. That makes perfect sense when Silver Surfer is not your favorite character,
Right,
but
right,
when
right.
he is, and it's like that is the story, right? He was birthed in that story, like it's one of the most famous. It's probably the greatest trilogy story in comics history. Like that is the story, and I'm sure like
Sure.
maybe they'll have whether or not they have a reason for it being. It doesn't matter. Like to me, it's like I want it. I want that to be. Because I also remember too the Fantastic Four cartoon, which a lot of people probably didn't watch. I loved. There
Right.
was an episode when Galactus came and that whole storyline unfolded,
Mm.
and like I just want that exact story. And so I'm naturally disappointed. I mean, but it
Yeah,
does not
it's
like I'm
understandable.
still super hyped for the movie. I'm gonna be there on the
Sure.
first day.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
I'm
it's not
not
like you're
gonna
not
let
gonna watch it or something.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
So I mean, and I told this the other day, like a perfect example is this is like I love Infinity War and Endgame. Love
Mm.
them. Could not speak higher praises of them. I'd be lying though if I said I wasn't disappointed Silver Surfer wasn't in those, right? Because like that's like one of the other biggest storylines from my childhood of what Silver
True.
Surfer is, the Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Yeah,
And he
and
wasn't in
how
those
do you
movies.
leave? Right, right.
Yeah, and it's like, and so that's disappointing, but doesn't change the fact that I absolutely love those movies. I could not speak more highly of them, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the same wavelength of what I feel here. So
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And yeah, I think it's different when it's not your character, as you said. Like
mhm.
and I can't think for myself if I've ever had this experience, at least yet, for what for the characters I love the most. So yeah, no, I totally get it. I mean, either way, yeah, it's awesome that they're doing it, that you're excited still to be able to see something going on. But I do hear you on that change.
Yeah, I mean, but most importantly, I'm excited because it looks like we're finally going to get a quality FF film. I think the
Yeah.
trailer looks
Oh, that's
awesome.
got to be the biggest takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I'm super pumped.
Yeah. So now I know, like, obviously the way the industry looks now with collecting and how it affects films coming out and how it affects books wasn't always the case back then, and especially going through the 90s and everything else. Totally different world. But yeah, I mean, I still like that the cartoons seemed like they played a big role in
Yeah,
just like
big
you getting
role.
into things. Now you're talking a lot about Marvel here and a lot of the things you've been referencing so far. Has DC played a role for you in any way? The fandom is that there at all in any
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah. No, I'm a bigger Marvel fan. That's absolutely true.
Okay,
But I
yeah,
absolutely love Batman. Like, if Silver Surfer is one, like Batman is probably number two.
okay,
Because again, the Batman the animated series
yeah,
was, I mean, it's the best. It's the GOAT of cartoons. Like,
sure,
in my opinion, it is the GOAT
yeah,
of cartoons.
that's fair.
Obviously loved 89 Batman,
Mhm.
loved the Christopher Nolan Batmans. Yeah, and then so Batman was mine, and my brother was big Superman. And I love Superman too. Like, I remember, that big nostalgia. Like, I loved growing up watching Lois and Clark. I don't know if you know that show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and so like
I didn't get to watch all that back then, but
okay,
yeah,
yeah. So we
I'm
watched
familiar with it.
all
Yeah,
of that back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah,
So I'm a big Superman fan too. And then from there, like, I know of the main characters. I can't really speak. Yeah, there you go. Chris is saying Dean Kane, exactly.
I just
Uh
saw him actually. He was just
yeah.
at a Comic-Con that I was just at
Yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
weekend. I was like, oh snap, he's still going.
So I could, obviously I know who Wonder Woman is, I know who Green Lantern
Yeah,
is, I know who Flash is, I know who, the main heavy hitters on DC. I can't speak to them though with a wealth of knowledge, to be perfectly fair.
yeah,
Like, if you were like, Rohan, for $1 million, what are Green Lantern's powers? I'd be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's got a
You
ring,
got it, really.
he can shoot things from the ring, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But I could tell you to a T, Superman and Batman.
Right. No, that's fair. Were you at that time? I know the '90s cars were really big for Marvel. I can't recall if DC. I guess
So
DC did do '90s, didn't they? Didn't they have
DC
some cars?
had a card set from the 90s.
Yeah.
Um, what was hard about it is because Marvel kept those sets to around like 150 cards, and right,
Mm.
of that 150, you'd get like 40 heroes, 40 villains, and then you get like battle cards. You get this. The DC set was like hundreds of characters. So it's like, the things about it was like there were so many characters that you'd get cards of. I was like, I don't even know who any of these guys are. And
Right.
then the biggest thing is they didn't have power ratings,
Mm.
right?
Oh yeah,
Series
that's
2 and
big. Yeah,
Series 3 that I talk about have power ratings, and that was the key thing that really hooked me in.
yeah,
DC did not have that, and so that was um, a big reason why. I mean, had those had power ratings, then I would have been like, okay, this guy, he can do this. Like, that would have made a bigger impact on me. But that was probably the number one driver of why Marvel hit so much for me, was those power ratings.
yeah. That's so interesting. Were you doing any? Were you collecting anything else at the? Even, I'm thinking even going a little past the early '90s. I know Pokemon had like launched and was a big deal. I know Magic
No,
the Gathering was in the early '90s as well. Things of that nature. Any
no,
of
I mean,
that?
like, I didn't get into Pokemon. I didn't know anything about Pokemon. I had heard of Magic. I had heard it was really nerdy. So and I didn't know anything about it beyond that. I mean,
Yeah.
here I am, huge nerd, obviously. So it's like, what am I saying?
Say you'd
Um,
love it. You'd
yeah,
fit right in.
I'm sure I would. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Magic.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about Pokemon, to be honest.
Yeah. No, interesting. I just curious with yeah, since you were collecting cards. And we talked a little bit about sports. Were you collecting sports cards at that time too?
So that's when I stopped with the Marvel stuff. Was when then I got more into sports, and then
Oh, right. That's right.
we
Okay.
started
We talked more
collecting
to that.
sports cards, and
Okay.
so that lasted probably um, up until like middle of middle school, and then I kind of just got distracted with all the other things
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah. Being
Yeah.
a teenager, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Do you still have any of the cards today that
So
you and your brother
I
collect?
still have, and they're in a binder right there.
Okay.
Series
Oh,
one,
that's right.
series
You post a bunch. I know
Yeah,
you
the
were
series
always
1,
sharing.
series 2, series
Yeah.
3, and the Jim Lee X-Men series 1 are right there in that binder, the childhood sets. Yeah, that was the thing, is like the comics we tossed. That was the only thing we kept, was
Yeah.
those cards.
That's amazing. Yeah, Matt says those 90s
Yeah.
sports cards claimed another victim. Yeah, Matt was big
Yeah,
into that too. Yeah.
yeah.
uh, Very cool. So, talk to me about what got you into the channel aspect of things and the community aspect? I know you mentioned the crew. I know just from, the brief time we kind of got to hang out, it seems like, you know a lot of people, you got to hang out with a lot of friends, at Terrificon from when I met you. But what made you get into the YouTube/Instagram side of things?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Like when I got back in, I didn't really have, none of my friends are like, none of the friends I see in 3 dimensions on a regular basis are
Yeah.
into this hobby. I
Okay.
mean, they'll go see movies, but they don't collect.
Sure.
And so that's when I started my Instagram page. I was like, okay, maybe I can start my own separate, and maybe there's an Instagram community. Turns out, obviously, there is. And that's also then when I met JP shortly after. He was the first kind of friend I made in the hobby. And, I really enjoyed talking to him about stuff. And then I kind of met a couple other people. And really what spurred is JP was just like, we should do a podcast together. And I was like, and then like we ended up just like, I was like, he finally one day he's like, no, let's do this. And I was like, okay. And really the motivation though was really to just engage more with people in this hobby.
Yeah.
And that was a great avenue to make connections because obviously we invited people onto our show. And so that was really the main motivator. To be perfectly honest, like, and so in those early kind of times of the channel, like I was very determined that we had an episode every week, et cetera, et cetera. Now, honestly, like now that I've created a nice little network of people to engage with on this stuff, do I like to have shows still? Absolutely. Do I feel the need to do it every single week? Like, no, to be honest, like, because I am already getting the engagement I was after. Like, for example,
Sure.
when you, like, normally I do my show tonight on Wednesdays. When you asked me a couple weeks ago would I come on, I was like, yeah, I don't have any guests planned this day. Like, let's do it. I have no issue not doing my channel like this week. Doesn't matter to me. I don't even think I have,
Right.
and I have a work thing next Wednesday. So it's like, it's not going to be then. It's like, I
Sure.
could not care less because I know I'm already now just regularly still talking with people on a regular basis. And that's the main thing for me. Like, it's great to have people to engage with on this topic.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think you guys do such a good job. You're very good with pulling the questions out of people, very natural. It seems like all of your guests are very comfortable, and it's a hangout. I mean, very much like this. Just it's a hangout, and I like what you said there about the fact that I feel like I was very similar. Like, when I created the show, similar, like doing this thing, wanted to get something out every week. When I was doing Origins originally, it was during the pandemic where, everybody was doing nothing. And I had it set every Saturday, 2:00 Eastern was my Comic Collector Origins. And it was, I loved it. Obviously, yeah, bringing in the community, meeting so many people, all these different experiences that I had and good laughs and all that stuff. But once the world opened back up, I was like, well, sorry, gang, but like Saturdays at 2:00 is just not a realistic time to go live and hope that, like, how dare I even expect people to show up, on Saturday at 2:00 live. So, once everybody kind of got their lives back and we're out the door and doing stuff, taking families and going places, like, I'm like, yeah, like, and I ended up stopping the show altogether because I was busy. Like, it wasn't, and to your point, like, yeah, like didn't even really like, I was so happy with kind of the group I built and the friends that I had made. But I did miss it. And doing the show with you was actually a big part of why I kind of brought this back too. It was you, it was Ryan, a couple of the other guys, even just from Terrificon this past year. Cause I really was like on the fence on bringing Origins back or not. A lot of it's just like life and just like, how much time do I have to dedicate this to with other shows and other things that I do?
For sure. And that's why, I mean, like, when I would say, like, you have a much more professional setup than I do with the show. Like, because to be honest, like, I don't really care. Like, I just enjoy doing it to talk to somebody.
It's the fun.
And and it's like, I don't check views. I have no idea how many. I don't think there are many, but I don't have many. Like, I don't care about, like, because like what I get out of it is the enjoyment of doing this. Sitting here talking with someone, engaging on this stuff that I love. And that's the only reason I do it. Is I just want to engage on this kind of thing. And if people watch, great. And especially like when we do it live and people are like getting into the conversation, that's awesome. Right. I love that because it's the engagement. But like, otherwise I have no idea. People are like, oh, do you know the analytics stuff? I don't even know how to look at any of that. I don't.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair, man. I love it. I mean, it's clearly it's what you wanted to do. You're just having fun with it. So I totally respect that. I have to ask, the handle that you carry Back in the Game Comics. Where did that come? Is this a more literal thing, or where
No,
was this
I mean,
from?
yeah, it really was. Like, I remember
Right.
when I started the Instagram page, I was like, oh, I need some kind of like cool, quippy name. Like, I remember there was someone, his name was Omega Red, but READ. I was like, man, that's so clever.
Oh,
like,
brilliant.
I need something like that. And I couldn't come up with anything. I was like, well, and then I don't know how I was just like, oh, maybe back. I was like, I'm back in it. I'm back in this game. I'm back in the game. And I just like went for it. And it's not like it has any significance to me. And then now, like, I have a bunch of friends that I made through it, and so like it is kind of is what it is. It's like I'm not going to change it now.
Right. It's funny because we kind of become our handles after a while, and just the way people recognize people and say, I've dropped my name. Oh, I'm Justin. They're like, I don't know who you are. I'm like, no good comments. Like, oh yeah, I've seen your handle, like, or whatever. So, but I had no idea this would be the thing I adopted, years from before. But I love that. Yeah, I was just curious, like, kind of with the story, the backstory of that. Where you came up with that. I wanted to highlight a couple things in the chat here. My man, Fable, what's going on? Fable was just talking about you earlier. Going to be hanging out with him this weekend. Cannot wait. Good to see you, brother. Let's see. Back up a little before, Chris was saying he had a ton of baseball cards. He said that was his jam back in the day there. Very cool. Let's see. Chris was saying, luckily my brother is a collector too and lives in the same town.
That's the thing is, my brother, he is a collector, but he's more of a broad collector. So he still collects some sports cards. He still collects memorabilia.
Cool.
He does have a couple comics too and things like that. And, but it's not like I'm more concentrated versus he's more broad. So it's not like I'm talking with him on X and Y
like
in
the
this
day to day with I was wondering if you brought him in, you got to bring him into this stuff, Rohan. Maybe one day. It's very cool. Let's see. Guys talking about G.I. Joe here. I wanted to ask too. I asked if you had like a book or something that you wanted to bring with you onto the show, or something that you wanted to show or talk about. Do you have anything with you there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I had this whole spiel on the Silver Surfer. So, of course, the one book I had to bring and share is my Fantastic Four 48. So, first
there it
appearance
is.
of Silver Surfer. And we talked about the trilogy, right? This is obviously the first of the trilogy. People hate this cover. I agree. 49 is the better cover. It's my all-time favorite Jack Kirby cover. However, when I got this book, like, I can't deny, like, to me at least, this is an iconic cover. And like, again, it's not as good as 49, but like, I just know this cover so well.
Yeah, it's iconic. It is.
Yeah, and so I love this book. Obviously.
How long have you had that book for? Or is that have you had that when you first kind of got back in? Was that one of the first things you went after? Or?
No. When I first got in, I kind of like got scattered in all the like much more of the quantity side of things. And then like I ended up like, thankfully I was able to like trade a lot of that for books like that. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I remember talking about it like briefly, like that. Yeah. You had ended up kind of downgrading not downgrading, but like going down in numbers as far as your actual collection goes.
Yeah.
And you were more focused, right?
Yeah. And Matt's asking me how many books are in my collection now. So as many people know, I'm not a volume collector. I think I'm under 20 books right now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned like when you first got into it, kind of you were buying up certain things or kind of getting into. I mean, I feel like that's the route a lot of people go in at first.
Yeah, you don't know what you love. You just kind of like,
you're just testing.
It was just like fun to go to the comic store and just like get something new and get a couple things and things like that. But I had no like purpose. There was no theme. It was just like it ranges from everywhere. So
yep. Yeah,
which I think is it's kind of how I think most people start, and then you kind of really understand what it is that you love and what you're interested in and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that I think applies to, your friends, your career, all that other stuff too, right? Kind of testing the waters out. So, but it's cool that you're able to kind of condense in a way that you want, for the hobby that you're the way you take on the hobby. So, and that's the other thing I want to ask you is, as of right now, what does the hobby look like for you? Is there anything new or different that you're trying to do with the hobby? Is there any big goals that you have set up for yourself? I know we talked a little bit about original artwork. Does that play a role in any of this or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like big significant books, right? That's why my collection is under 20. So it's like I will get, you know, my goal for this year is 3 books, right? I've already got one of them. And so I try to, that doesn't mean if I do find like good deals and things like that, I'll buy books to then sell books to then like,
Sure.
help
Yeah.
build up some of the plot to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, to me, my favorite thing, is the big first appearance books.
Okay.
And so those so my goal, so like last year I was able to get, for example, I got X-Men 1, I got Fantastic Four 5 and Fantastic Four 1. And then this year I've already got Jim 83, and then the other 2 on my list this year are ASM 1 and TOS 39.
Wow. Big books.
Yeah, and again, so it's like, I'm working months before I make a new acquisition. And again, even at those, like, and for me, like, it's like I'm doing like 1.5 grades, but I find ones, you look for ones that look, present great. Like that's what I'm kind of looking for. Yep. And then, I have started dipping my toe into the original art game. And one thing I've been talking about original art a lot on my channel recently, because I think what's interesting about original art too is just like it is when you kind of get into comics, you're just like, what do I like? What do I want to get into? And, with original art, we think about like everything's one of one. So it's like, oh, it's all great. But really, when you think about it, right? Like one comic book, let's just say it's 16 pages, right? That's 16 pieces of original art that go with that, right? Now, I actually don't have any published pages at the moment. And so when it really boils down, it's like, yes, everything is one of one, but there is so much original art. So similarly, how you kind of narrow your lane or focus in collecting comics or anything, you have to kind of do the same in original art. Where do you want to focus? Because again, otherwise you spread yourself too thin. Like I'm definitely not someone that has unlimited funds.
Right.
And so for me, where I want to dip my toes is anything. I'd be interested in any page that I thought was great that was Silver Surfer related page wise. Sure. I would say I would love covers, but like, I mean, the premium on a cover is just well beyond my means at least at the moment.
Big premium.
I mean, even pages are, it's like, I gotta, maybe it's like a page a year kind of thing, maybe. But the other thing, I've already talked a ton about them, is, and I go down the heritage rabbit hole and the calf rabbit hole, is those, what was great about those cards I was talking about, 90, 91, 92, is those are the first cards. So Marvel had cards prior, but they would just repurpose art from comic books for the cards. Those three especially those were the first sets of cards they ever actually used original artwork for. And so they have original art to those cards. And so that is where my main focus of original art that I want to collect is anything from 1990 Series 1, 1991 Series 2, 1990 Series 1, 1991 Series 2, 1992 Series 3.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's really cool. Yeah, man, that's a dangerous rabbit hole to go down. Original art in general.
And it's a blast. And honestly, and it's a lot of fun just to like find it. Like on CAF or on heritage sales. So it's like when I find pieces in those sets, I like screenshot them. If you ever follow me on Instagram, you'll see my stories. Whenever I find a new batch, I just post my story. Not to say that I have them or I'm going to go after them. Just be like, here's a new one I found. Like, not that I'm trying to get, just show them. So
it's just cool. Yeah, it's just cool stuff to see. Like it's so true. What was I gonna say? Oh, so you had inspired me, I should say, because you had shown a piece that you got at Terrificon this past year, a commissioned piece. From
the
Bob
sketchbook. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How's that going?
I have that right here. Yeah, and actually, I'm pumped. I was actually because we were talking about before going to Heroes Con, and so I was going through the guest list.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's like so many artists and things there. It's like you can't get something from everyone, and not to mention not necessarily every artist does a commission. So I was like making my list of like who I want to prioritize to get commissions from too. And the kind of the thing too is like some artists, it's like you got to like go in advance and then like give them their thing. Like the goal of my sketchbook here And I can flip through a couple if you want to see.
I was say, can you show the Bob McLeod Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
That was my inspiration right there, because I'm like, oh man, next time I see Bob, I am getting some work done. and not only that, but you inspired me with the book like that. I'm like, man, it's just a fun idea to like build your collection in this little book.
So it's a couple things. One, I don't have a comic room, right? Obviously, I'm in my guest room right now at our house, and this is also my where I work. So I don't have like all this room to like put up framed things. Like everyone's like, oh, don't you want to have this stuff to frame? It's like I don't really have the space for that. Plus, to mention like framing costs money, so it's like sure. But what I liked about the sketchbook is the book is a record of my experience in this hobby. So when I go to these cons and I get an artist or two artists or whatever to sketch in there, that's a record of my experience at said event.
That's a great way to put it.
So Bob McLeod Nightcrawler here, I just absolutely love.
Yeah, dude.
And so if anyone's kind of interested, like one thing for me is like, again, I don't really want to like reach out to artists and like pre-planned commissions. Like,
sure,
I want to just like go up and be like, hey, again, because a commission can cost you hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Right. However, a lot of them would do a headshot for
like a reasonable price.
I mean, like Walt Simonson for $50. I got
that is cheap, man.
Exactly right.
For him, he could easily charge like 200 or
and I think this from Bob McLeod, I think was only 100.
Yeah.
And so it's good. Like, and they'll do it, when I went up to Bob, he's like, I'm busy right now. If you come back I was like, because I wanted to take my book around.
Sure.
And Bob was like, okay, I can't do it right now, but if you come back at 2:30, I'll do it then. And so every commission I got there and at other cons, it's like ones that they could do right there on the spot in less than 15 minutes. Right. Again, I'm not trying to like have like these elaborate, I just want kind of simple things again, to just be a record of what I did and who I met and who got, like, to me, like, unlike comics, like my sketchbook is something where it's like, I think quantity is cool. If I have a number of different unique pieces from as many artists as I can, like that, that really appeals to me.
Well, plus because the quality is still there. Like that's the story behind it is the quality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And so, I made my list this last week of who I want to prioritize at Heroes when I go, to get a couple.
Very cool. Now, briefly, and I do want to get into some of the rapid fire stuff, but I know we talked a little bit backstage about it, but Terrificon, do you see yourself coming back anytime soon? Is that going to be something? I know you loved it. It was a great time. I know you're going to Heroes, right? You're just talking about, doing that.
Yeah. And so my goal, as I was telling you, I ideally would like to do, so obviously I live in the Seattle area. And we have two decent sized cons, Emerald City Comic Con and SummerCon.
Oh yeah.
So I go to those every year. Those though are not nearly on the level of something like a Terrificon or a Heroes Con or anything like that.
Right.
I actually can't go to SummerCon this year because it's the same weekend as Heroes Con, which is unfortunate. But anyways, after we did the Terrificon, because it just worked out like how it all spiraled into all of us going, and it had such a great time. I was like, I want to do this as an annual thing, and everyone in the group kind of was on that same wavelength.
Yeah.
And so we actually asked, because we ended up having breakfast both days at Terrificon with Walt Simonson.
I saw that.
We picked his brain. We were like, what are the cons that you enjoy going to? Because there's the real collectors, there's actual comics. And because again, like I don't need to go to the big cons where it's like more pop culture stuff and things like that. And so he had said Terrificon was one. Heroes Con was the other, and he mentioned Baltimore was the other one.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, Baltimore.
And we had already heard a lot of good things about Heroes Con, and so like that weekend we were like, okay, let's try and do Heroes Con next year.
Gotcha.
And so that's coming up in June. I'm super pumped for that. Going back to Terrificon, what I was going to say is, while I'm super pumped for Heroes Con, I do think one thing I'm sure that we will like about Terrificon is Terrificon's all encompassed in the Mohegan Sun, right? Like you don't see the sun because you're inside for 3 days, right? Heroes, like we have a hotel in Charlotte, we can walk to the convention, but like we will be going to food outside of the, like, it's very,
you get fresh air.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like there is a certain convenience of like everything's there for the 3 days. So like it wouldn't be surprising, like if in a couple years, we're like, let's just make Terrificon the annual con kind of thing. And, so I think I will definitely at some point probably be back at Terrificon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you definitely
Yeah,
gotta let me know when you're heading back this way or anywhere in the
yeah.
Northeast here. So yeah, very cool, man. Yeah, love to hear it. Excited for you for Heroes Con. I will be sad when I see all the photos and everything. I'll be missing out. Here's my buddy Chinmo. What's going on, Chinmo?
Yeah,
He was at Terrificon.
I met him at Terrificon.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's there every time. Now, again, convenient for guys like he and I being as close as we are
Mhm.
to the show. But
Yeah, I mean, if I could drive to Terrificon, it would be a no-brainer every year,
right,
in addition to like a trip or whatever like that. We just
sure.
go there.
Yep. Yeah, Matt's gonna add this on at some point. I can't wait, dude. Can't wait till you come up here. Well, you're definitely gonna have to let me know how Heroes Con is, because that's probably something I will, and who knows? Hey, Rohan, maybe Heroes Con is like so good. You're like, oh, well, I don't know now. Maybe it's better
Yeah,
than
yeah,
maybe it's
it
better.
very
I don't know.
well. Hey, look,
I hear two things. So.
Chinmo's offering you a ride down. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Oh man. Oh, that's so tempting. No, I can't. I really can't. If things change, Jimmo, I'll take you up on that.
Yeah.
Although a drive down, that's still kind of rough. All right, let's get into some of the rapid fire stuff before we wrap up here. Again, if you guys are just joining or if you're watching the replay, make sure you're following Rohan. I put all his information in the description below. Rohan, let's talk first. So we talked a little bit about your favorite character or favorite characters, and you kind of gave me the 1-2. But who's your favorite? If you had to choose one, who's your favorite villain of all time?
Ooh, I would say now it's probably Doctor Doom. I would say as a
Ooh.
child it was Magneto.
Oh, nice.
And I mean,
Yep.
even now I'd say if Doom is 1A, Magneto's 1B.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
It's got to be flying.
All right.
Yeah, although I will say, going back to Magneto, the magnetism thing allows you to fly and does so maybe I should say Magneto's.
That's true.
Power
You
magnetism.
get a little bit more out of it. Yeah. That's actually, I haven't had anyone say Magneto's powers for this on this show.
Although, like,
That's
if I had
brilliant.
to stick with the flying, like, I would specifically say, like, I want to be like to be able to travel at the speed of light, because then like that opens up so
Just
much
like
of a world of
instant.
possibility. Yeah.
I thought you were about to say you needed a surfboard in hand.
No, I mean, if that's how I
You
had
can
to
take
do
it
it,
with
I
you.
would do it. But like whatever
Yeah.
is needed for that.
Rohan, the next Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I got the same haircut.
There you go. There you go. Let's see. If you could, oh, I love this question. If you could travel back in time, and let me clarify this. So, because you've already named some, and I know some of your collection, you got some incredible books in your collection. This question goes towards a book you do not currently own. If you could travel back in time, literal time travel, and buy one comic book off the shelf at cover price during that time to bring back with you to the current day that you could never sell, it would be in your collection forever. You would take it to the grave with you. What would that one comic book be?
I mean, is it probably a cop-out answer? But if I had to say, it would either be Action Comic 1s or Detective Comics 27. I mean, like, I feel like that's I mean, but like you said, I can't sell it. But even though I can't sell it, it would still be one of those two books. Like I said, like, I'm a huge Batman. So I would say Batman is a little higher in Superman. So I think in that realm, I would say Detective 27.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's
like
totally
I'm a first appearance collector. That is the first appearance. Like, so I hope that's like, not. I could definitely think of a more creative answer if people consider that a cop-out.
No, it's great. It's great. I mean, look, partially you have a lot of really great ones to begin with that come to my mind anyways. That might be on other people's lists or whatever if they didn't own it. But I think it's a very fair question or answer, especially knowing your fandom for Batman. I mean, for sure. And imagine, hey, just think for a second, put your mind into it, where you're just like, this book would be crisp. This thing would be instant 9.
Yeah, and that's I've actually thought about the scenario, and I'm like, why would I grab this one? If they're 10 cents,
yeah, go in there with a bunch of quarters or whatever. The person at the shop's gonna be like, oh, all right. No, I love that. Let's see. Are you if you had to choose kind of a this or that, original X-Men team or the Claremont newer X-Men team?
Oh, definitely the newer Claremont. I mean, of the X-Men, like, I would say Wolverine is my favorite, and then plus like I do love them all, but like I would say of the original 5, Beast is probably my favorite. But when I think about X-Men characters, my favorites would be like Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Rogue, Gambit, Storm. which are all on the newer
the
side of
Claremont
things.
stuff.
But I mean,
Yeah,
like that does not mean like I still, I like the original 5 as well, but I do think
sure.
the newer newer
Yeah.
set. Plus, I like Archangel a lot versus Angel. So
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Quick hello to my man Bueller. Comments with Bueller. What's going on, Bueller? Good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. Hope all is well. Chris is the AF-15 because Spidey is a favorite for me. Yeah,
choice,
so that also crossed my mind for something you would have potentially have said. But yeah, I mean, clearly with the Batman stuff, that makes sense. Let's see. Who comes to mind when I say like who's your favorite artist of all time? Is there anybody that's just like
Jack Kirby. Jack
Okay,
Kirby, no doubt.
Kirby,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think I love vintage comic book art. Like I would say, like Alex Ross, for example. Any idiot can see that this guy is supremely talented.
Yeah.
I'd take Jack Kirby any day. I love the aesthetic of vintage comic book art, and nobody hits that better than Jack Kirby.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, hey, he's the OG of OGs. You can't, you can't argue that. No, I love it. Let's see. If you were,
I should add real quick. As a child, Jim Lee.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, for sure. I mean, 90s right there, right? That's one thing that really pulled you in. And he's still incredible.
Yeah.
Two-part question. One, have you ever cosplayed at a Comic-Con before? And if you haven't, if you ever did, let's just say you one day decided you were going to, what would be a character you think you would be willing to try to do?
It would have to be Silver Surfer, right? I got the dome, let's go. We're doing it. Let's go all in.
Walk around with your surfboard. Yeah, you can totally pull it off. I love it. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about music. It's gonna change it up here a little bit. Where do you stand with music? If you had, do you have a favorite artist, favorite, band or anything that comes to mind? And what kind of genres do you listen to?
Yeah, so I could be, I'm a fan of almost all forms of music with the exception of country music. I do not enjoy country music.
I knew it was coming.
I mean, I could even get down with heavy metal. It's not my preference, but like I can definitely listen to that versus I can't do country. All-time favorite band though is Radiohead.
Oh, nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, they're great. Classic music at this point. It's so good. I mean, timeless, I should say. Timeless.
Yeah. Radiohead 1, Pearl Jam 2.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my wife would love you. She's diehard Pearl Jam. I mean, I love Pearl Jam too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right up there with you. What about where was I gonna go? Oh, we got to talk a little bit of sports here before we close out. So I know you're up in the Seattle area. For the people, what's your number one sport, and what's your number one team if you have one?
Yeah, I mean, for me, football is king. So Seahawks. I mean, I would say as much as I love this hobby, sports is probably my biggest hobby.
Yeah.
Like I've had season tickets for the Seahawks for over 20 years.
Oh, awesome. That's very cool.
But I'm a huge Seattle sports fan. So my childhood was the Seattle Supersonics, growing up in the 90s. Nice. They're obviously gone, and I'm bitter about that still, and I can't wait for the day they come back. But yeah, so Seahawks, the Mariners are obviously huge. But the Seahawks are definitely, prime number one.
Julio Rodriguez, he's one of my guys. I like watching that guy play ball.
Yeah, there you go. And they're balling this year right now. They're fun to watch.
They are. It feels like it's been every other year they've had like kind of a hot year.
Well, I mean, we went 21 years without making
miserable stretch. This is all newer territory, right? Do you do? I know I mentioned it earlier before we got on, but do you do any fantasy football or fantasy sports of any sort?
No, I actually do not like fantasy at all, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. Because I am a team guy. I am a team over player guy.
Fair.
And like my brother's a huge fan as well, but he's big into fantasy, and it's like when the Seahawks are on, I'm all in on watching the Seahawks, and I just hate the idea of being like, switch it to the Charger game because I have Herbert on my fantasy team. Like, I don't give a F about Justin Herbert right now. I think fantasy football and fantasy sports in general has brought a lot of fans to the game. But my one kind of like qualm with it is it's brought a lot of fans that are just fans of players, not teams. And so it's like, to me, like I want rivalries, right? I want those like blood feuds between teams. Like, that's what I love. So it's like, I'm a team guy. And so I think that's why, yeah. So I'm not into the fantasy side.
It makes total sense, man. And I've been in that situation where I need Lamar to do great because I'm a Lamar and I'm a Baltimore fan. And then I find out my opponent has Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, I want him to do good, but not that good, but just
it's
good
similar
enough
to,
to win the game.
Like, we would go to like a Seahawks game and like they'd be playing the Chargers, let's just say. And my brother's like, I hope the Seahawks win, but like 56-52 because I have Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Like,
we need a lot of scoring.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't care about that.
That is hysterical, man. I love that. It's so funny. It's a good point. It's a really good point. The game has definitely changed for sure. Let's see. A couple quick ones here. Pizza or cake?
Pizza, easily.
That's correct. Pepsi or Coke?
Neither. I don't drink soda of any kind.
Soda. Fair. Let's see. We already did the Marvel DC thing. Let's see. Oh man, I even had on my list Doom or Magneto, but now we kind of know the answer to that.
Although I would think Magneto would whoop Doom because Doom's got all that metal on.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. Who's your favorite Fantastic Four member?
The Thing. The Thing.
Nice.
Love the Thing. The Thing, and then Human Torch would be number 2. But yeah, the Thing. I love the Thing.
What do you like most about the Thing? Because I love him too. He's stood out.
So taking it back to the cards, the 90s.
Yeah.
The Series 1 Thing card, I don't know what it is about it, but it's if you know the card, Thing is holding up in one hand a barbell that I think it says like 10,000, and then on the other hand he has a sub sandwich, and I just loved that image as a child, and I've been in love with the Thing since a kid. I used to love like the Hulk Thing 1v1 battles. Like I think in my opinion, that's the greatest 1v1 battle in all of comics.
Yeah.
And so, I'm a big Thing guy. And that's why I'm super excited about the movie, because I hated how the Thing looked in those old FF movies.
Oh, yeah.
I love how he looks in this new movie.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely am looking forward to him in this new setup. And I like the actor too. What's his name? Oban?
Eben Boss Baccarat.
Yeah.
Boss Baccarat.
He's fantastic. I watched him in some of the other shows that he's in right now, and he's currently one of my favorites. So I'm gonna have to later. I'll have to look that up, that Thing card, because I'm
wait, here, I'll show you. I'll pull it out.
Oh, do you have one there? Oh yes, please do. Yeah,
I got the cards right here.
Are these do you know if are these cards nowadays, the card, like the ones in your collection here, are they like hard to get? Are they hard to come by? Oh, let me play up here.
No, you could get these all on eBay for $1, if not less.
Oh, okay.
The only time that these specific sets, because they were, super mass printed.
Yeah.
If you get a PSA 10, it can cost a little bit, but even now there's so many PSA 10s. Like you can get PSA 10s of that set for like $40 depending on the character.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah. I feel like I'm gonna have to go through. It would be nice to own a couple of the cards again, and I know I have some somewhere. I don't know if it was from that though. It might have been late, like 94, 95.
I want to say you could probably buy a full set in, like ungraded it for like
decent
$50 probably.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, maybe it'd be nice to just have them. I see you post them all the time. It'd be cool to like set them up next to comics and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, very cool. One more question for you before we wrap up here. One that I always like to close the show out with, but we got to talk a little bit about food. I know you had mentioned pizza earlier. If you had, it's a Friday night, you and your family, it's your choice, whatever it is that you want to do, your go-to meal, whether it's going out to eat or ordering in or cooking, what is your go-to meal for you?
I'll even reference the MCU. Iron Man, when he got locked away for months and he came back with the first thing he wanted was a cheeseburger. So I am a burger guy. I always tell people I am on a quest to find the world's best burger. So whenever we go on a trip somewhere, I want to know if there's a burger there that I have to try, and if so, I'm getting it. Even when we go to a new restaurant, if there's a burger on the menu and I would think that these guys will know what they're doing with the burger, I'm usually ordering that. Yeah, I'm a big burger guy.
I love it. Do you like to grill? Do you do any
cooking? We do. I love we have the we have the flat top now too, so we do the
Oh,
smash
nice.
burgers.
Oh, sick.
I love a good smash burger.
Yeah, hell yeah, very cool. I'm with you, man. I love a good burger, and
Oh,
I feel like when I am trying a new spot out, is usually my go-to. Even if I had a
yeah.
burger the night before, I'm just like, yeah, no, but this could be like an amazing burger. I like that you say it as a quest to find the best burger. I think I'm going to take that
Yeah.
because I feel like that's what I'm looking for. You know.
Yeah, Chris, I got the Blackstone. That's what I got. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's very cool. Um, awesome, Rohan. Well, dude, listen, man, it's been a blast. These are the questions that I had for you. Before I let you go, is there anything you want to highlight or let the people know about as far as what's coming up or anything in your agenda?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to plug in terms of my agenda. Like, if you want to check out my channel, it's the Absolute Game of Nerds. But more importantly, like, I would much rather have a conversation with you, whether that be on Instagram chat, than watch my channel. Because again, my whole thing is I love engaging with people in this hobby. And so, hit me up on Instagram if you ever want to talk anything comics related. I'm always down. I always tell people too, I get a kick, like, again, like, I don't buy a lot, as I talked about. So like one thing I do find fun is helping others find books. So if there's a
Mm,
big book or something that you're after, like I scroll the Instagram pages all the time. So it's like,
yep.
if you're looking for any of those books, like let me know. I'm happy to help you find that book and find the price you're looking for, the grade you're looking for, whatever it is. Like I'm more than happy to help. I find that fun because again, we all love the hunt, right?
Yeah.
When you get a book once every 5 months, like I don't get, I want to keep hunting. So like this is a
Yeah.
way to get through it.
That's awesome, man. I absolutely love it. It's a great idea. And also you're just helping out, fellow collectors. So it's
Yeah, I
always
mean,
nice
and
to
that's the whole thing, right? Like
pass it
I
along.
always tell people too, like the reason why I've lasted in this hobby is the engagement, the community side of it, right? And like
Yeah.
if I can help, you get some book that you've been wanting, like we can enjoy that together.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Big
yeah.
time. No, it's a
Yeah.
great,
Hey,
great point.
thanks, Matt.
Yeah, appreciate everybody that's in the chat, or if you're watching the replay. Again, Rohan, just thank you, brother. I really appreciate your time and being on the channel. And we'll have to have you back at some point. Got to get
Yeah.
JP on here at some point, in the future too. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Happy to come on anytime.
yeah,
Loved it. And yeah, always down. Like I said, I'm always down for the engagement here in the hobby.
I love it. I love it. Well, there you go, folks. Make sure you're following Rohan. Sub up to the channel. I'll put all his information in the description below. Like I said earlier in the beginning, I will be back next Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern for another episode, another show here for Origins. So,
Who are you interviewing next week?
I'm actually going to be interviewing Dave Four Corners, who was up
Oh,
here
very
earlier.
nice.
So yeah, he'll be my next guest. Looking forward to it. I actually got to meet him. He'll be one of the few where I actually get to meet first before I have on the show. We were hanging out a couple weeks back. He's from Nevada, but he came over for work in New York City, and we got to meet up at Zap Comics. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
So yeah, so we'll be back next Wednesday. So mark your calendars, folks. Otherwise, take a moment, smash that like button. Until next time, we will talk to you later. Peace.
Peace out.